Hello and welcome to night 8 of 10 Ways to Weather the Storm. My name is Kareen Kircher. I am your host for these 10 nights where we are discussing how to get through any crisis that you may encounter in your life, in your career, or in your business. So I assume you will have at least listened to one of the prior calls. That way I don't have to go through the whole background again, and we can dive straight into tonight's lesson. And lesson 8 has to do with giving back. Sometimes people think that you have to be ultra rich and super connected and have all these wonderful things going on in your life where you are basically living on easy street in order for you to give back. Or sometimes people feel if they have been beaten up by life in some aspect of their life that they don't necessarily have something to give because they are damaged or they feel like damaged goods. And nothing could be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, it takes people who have been through something like you have to be able to have empathy for someone else that you're going to meet down the line in your life and who needs your level of understanding, who needs to know that you have walked through these dark shadows yourself and you have come to the other side and you are now prospering more than you have before. So giving back is really important for so many reasons. It also makes you appreciate the fact that you have come through this. You have become stronger. It did not take you down. This is something which was tough, which was difficult. And as you read in the passages of Acts 27 and 28, there's a few verses where Paul is recounting how day after day they had one difficulty after another. He was describing one thing and he said, and with great difficulty we managed to get the ship to do XYZ. With great difficulty we managed to do this next step. With great difficulty we managed to anchor the ship. With great difficulty, over and over again. Not just difficulty, with great difficulty. So, what does that mean? Those are things which most definitely take a toll on your psyche. So when you emerge from that problem, who is more qualified than you to help someone else? So never minimize the fact that you have been beaten up a little bit by life and that you don't have a perfect resume, so to speak, in order to be able to help someone else. Your scars are good for something, if nothing else, to give some people hope that even though they also are, a little bit scarred by life, they can make it to the other side. So as before, I hope you have pen and paper. If you do not, quickly grab it, pause this, grab some pen and paper to jot down these questions. These are food for thought questions. In case you are listening to this for the very first time, here is the concept behind that. These ideas that I'm sharing with you, you don't have to implement all of them, particularly if you are already going through a hard time in your life. Simply pick the piece that stays with you the most, that you feel you need to work on the most, and then focus on that for the next 24 hours until we come back again. That's all it is. It is that simple. And we do a maximum of about 10 minutes a night. It doesn't have to stretch the whole 10 minutes. But it is to give you enough of a pep so you can tackle the next day and approach it with something that you have that you're going to accomplish in order to get you further ahead past this storm. So, more specifically, the first question as food for thought is, in what ways are you giving back right now? Again, don't minimize whatever you are able to do or however much of it you are able to contribute, whether it's time, money, listening to someone, pointing someone in the right direction, giving them some advice perhaps. In what ways are you leveraging the problem that you're having to be able to make life a little bit easier for someone else also. The next question is, even if you feel you're not enough, who do you think needs you right now? Who do you think needs you right now? Let's say you could get past any feeling that you're not enough, that you're not far ahead enough yet, but who is behind you? You're always ahead of somebody in life. There may be a lot of people you look up to and you think you're much further ahead than you are, but there are also plenty of people behind you. Who are some of those people? What can you do for them? How can you inspire them? How can you help them? How can you give them a nudge in the right direction? What can you do in the next 24 hours to accomplish that? Sometimes when you go through a deep problem, it can have the surprising effect of actually pushing you forward towards more success. And that's something you should not be afraid of, because sometimes you think a storm is going to defeat you, yet at the end of it, it ends up opening more doors for you. Think about who can benefit from your success. Whose life can you make much, much better than it is right now? Give yourself time to contemplate, to imagine, to take a moment to jot that down. Now, in terms of people who can benefit from your success, again, this is not comparing yourself to anybody who's ahead of you, because celebrities have always existed and they will always exist. But frankly, think of whatever celebrity you want to think of right now. How much can you actually relate to that person on a day-to-day basis? Even if that celebrity has had a similar problem as you, and you know someone else who's going through that same kind of problem, do you think that person in your circle is more likely to relate to you or relate to that celebrity? Chances are it's to you. So your experience is much closer to home, and it's much more relevant in order to teach them the practical steps of how they can get inspired also to get beyond their problem. And now for the final piece for a food for thought. I want you not only to think about, but actually write down how it feels when you know you can affect somebody's life for the better. How do you feel knowing that you have the opportunity, with all your warts, with all your problems, with everything you've got going on? How does it feel to know that you can take the imperfect package that you are, that your business is, that your career is, and yet you can take some gems out of those experiences and let that benefit somebody else? How delighted do you think that next person will be that you were gracious enough to help them? And remember, last night we talked about being gracious enough to accept help when you need it. Now imagine you're the one who has that opportunity to do the same thing, to pour that into somebody's life. And it can really be a tremendous thing. This is how you can start taking over whatever negative thoughts that you have boiling in your head right now about a negative situation. This is setting you up so that you can be of service to someone else in ways that words cannot describe, that words cannot do justice to. So this is actually what you truly have to look forward to. It's not just a storm. It is something that will pass. It is a problem that will pass. Everything in life is temporary, including problems. There's no such thing as a permanent problem. So give thought to how you're going to weather the storm in the next 24 hours by making sure you are of service to someone else. And I will join you back here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for lesson number 9. We only have 2 more nights to go. Thank you so much for hanging with me, and have a wonderful day.